you wake up every morning? What drives you? If you want to live a life of success, a life of complete success, happiness and fulfillment, you must find your purpose. You see, if you don't know what your purpose is, if you don't know what drives you, what inspires you, then you have no reason to improve your life. How can you improve your life if you have no reason to improve it? Why do you do what you do? Why do you do what you do? What's the reason? Why do you exist? Do you know what it takes to be great? Are you willing to go the extra mile? I tell you time and time again, you will get tired. But if you have a why, we'll give you that extra strength, that extra foot you need, that extra hour you need, the courage. Why are you different from everyone else who's trying to do the same thing you're doing? What makes you stand out? Why are you so important? Find your why. Your why will pull you up when you feel like you don't have the strength to get up anymore. Your why will keep you fighting when everyone else thinks you are out for the count. Why? Who are you fighting for? What drives you?
Is your purpose your family? Is it to prove the doubt is wrong? Is it to prove yourself right? What is your purpose? Write down your purpose. Carry it with you everywhere. Feel it deep and promise yourself every day you will live your purpose with zero excuses.
Somebody's waiting for you to mess up. Somebody's waiting for you to give up. Someone is waiting for you to fall. So when you're challenged by life, what are you going to do? When you feel like you're at your lowest point in life, will you throw in the towel? Or will you make the move to be successful? Don't look back. Just remember where you came from. And let that drive push you to go forward. It's not always going to be an easy road. And when you reach success, you won't take it for granted. You cherish those moments you had to go through. Those moments you were without. And when you fall down, get back up. Get yourself up. You need to find something that drives you. Something that no matter what happens, this part of you does not change. This drive in you does not change. This purpose never dies. No matter how many times life knocks you down, your purpose pulls you up every time. This is the reason I will fight for my dreams. This is the reason I will not take no for an answer. When it hurts, keep going. Those cloudy days, those storms, telling you to keep going. Those times in your life when you can't see how you're going to make it. Some things you can't change. You just have to live with it. But if you do have a choice, make the right choice. Your purpose is that one thing that lights you up. It's the one thing that will get you up early. That one thing. When you're doing it, time stops. Your purpose may be something you don't want. It may be seeing someone in your past and thinking, no matter what, I will ensure I never end up like that. Your purpose is always something that lights a fire in you. I will do this no matter what. My family is counting on me. My friends are counting on me. I am counting on me.
All right. I want to sincerely believe that we got value from that session. And so on that note, I want us to start today's class. And I just want to do a little review of what we did the last class. Just a little review of what we did the last class. Now, we said that angles of elevation and depression are applications of trigonometry. And we made an important definition. We gave some important, illustrations. I said angles of elevation denote the angle from the horizontal upward. So when you hear elevation, you are looking from downward upward. When you hear elevation, you are looking from downwards upward. So the object you are looking at is upwards, is above your line of sight, is above your line of sight. Now, if you look at all these two diagrams, these two illustrations, the angle that the person looking up from, the angle of elevation is the angle that the sight of the person looking up forms with the horizontal. So if you can see my cursor, this angle is what is referred to as the angle of elevation. So the first thing that should come to your mind is elevation has to do with looking at something above, from a point on the ground, from the point on the ground. I want to believe that makes sense to us. Then if we look at depression, the angle of depression is just exactly opposite to angle of elevation. Angle of depression denotes the angle from horizontal, from upward, downwards. You can see the word downwards to an object. So the observer is above. The observer is above. The object that is being looked at is below. The object that is being looked at is below in the case of angle of depression. So when you hear depression, angle of depression, that means you are looking from above something below. You are looking downwards. You are looking below. Then if you hear elevation, you are looking from the horizontal. You are looking above. So please let that sink into us. Then another thing I want us to also note is that if you read the question will tell you where to start from. We will always look out for something like from. I gave us steps to solve angles of depression and elevation. Someone is writing on the screen. All right, I gave us the steps, sorry about that, for approaching problems in angles of elevation and depression. And I told you that the most important thing is actually the diagram. In most cases, the diagram takes a number of marks. So once you get the diagram correctly, you are most likely going to solve the problem correctly. But once you get the diagram wrong, your solution may also be wrong. As I've told a lot of you guys that you did yours, you sent to me, I made some comments. And for some, I told them when we come to class, we will look at it together. Then, once you sketch the diagram, you mark out all the parameters you are given. Then, you determine which trigonometry function you want to use. Then I also said we should note that we will always have a right angle triangle or a right angle triangle and a rectangle combined together. So I want us to look at the assignment I gave us. Now this is the assignment I gave us. The angle of elevation. So the first thing that should occur to us here is that we are talking about angle of elevation. So that means we are looking from down to up. We are looking from down to something up. And that also implies that angle of elevation will also be down. Some of us put our angle of elevation above. So since it's angle of elevation, it will be below. So the angle of elevation of the top of a tower. So we have a tower. Then we have a point on the ground, which is 36 meters away from the foot of the tower. Please, I quickly want to do something. I quickly want to do something. I want to reshare my screen so that I want us to draw the diagram together. And at this point, I want to unmute everybody so that the class can be participatory. All right, can you all hear me?
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So the question says,
Yes, sir.
the angle of elevation of the top of the tower.
Fine, sir.
The angle of elevation of the top of the tower. Let me just do something. Let me copy it. How this will copy. So that's the question. The angle of elevation at the top of the tower. That means we have a tower. And if you recall, as I told you, that we almost always have tower, roof, building, and the rest of them. So we have so what are the things we are given? What are the things we are given? Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Can you guys hear me?
Hey, doctor.
Hello? Can you guys hear me?
Sorry. I can't really hear you.
Can you hear me?
Maybe.
Right there. I can hear you.
Hello, Favor. You are raising up your hand. You all hear me? Hello?
Hello, sir.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, it's better.
Yes, sir.
You should keep.
Hello?
Hello. Hi.
Can you hear me?
Nah.
Yes, sir.
Okay, you can hear me, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
You can't hear anything, or she can't hear anything. Can you log out and log in again if you can't hear anything? So if we look at this question, we're told that the angle of elevation of the top of a tower. So that means we have a tower. And anytime you have something like a tower, and I told you it's just like a vertical, is like you just represent it with a vertical line.
Yes, sir.
Tower. Then they said from a point on the ground. So there is another point on the ground. So from that point on the ground, the elevation of the top of the tower is what is 30 degrees. We also know that the point on the ground is 36 meters away from the foot of the tower. I want to do my illustration. I want to do my drawing like this. So the first thing I have is a tower, right? I say this is the tower. So I decide to represent the tower by whatever. I can call it T, the top T. I call it top T. I call the bottom W. So that's the tower. See, this is my tower. All right. Is it making sense to us?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. Next,
Yes, sir.
because that from the point of the ground, there's a point on the ground. We have an elevation of this
So who put videos I don't know?
from the point on the ground. So that means we have a point on the ground. From that point on the ground, the angle of elevation, so that means we are looking at the top of the tower. The angle that is made between the foot of the tower so that means this angle is are we getting what we're doing? Is it making sense to us?
Yes.
So that's our 30 degrees. Then they told us that let's name this one, let's label this. Let's probably put another name P. So they told us that the point is 36 meters away from the foot of the tower. So this is the foot of the tower. The foot of the tower is W. So that means the distance between W and P is our 36 meters. So we have we also know that this is
Someone got it now, but look at the diagram. Look at the diagram.
our right hand.
Put the tick to the right, please. And no put it on the
Does
right.
anybody have any question?
No, sir.
Anybody have any question?
No, sir. No.
Okay, Omoto. Hello, Omoto Yosi.
Sir.
Do you get it better now compared to what you did? You know, I said you did correction in class. Does it make
Yes,
sense
sir.
to you now what we have drawn compared to what?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good.
Yes, sir.
So if we look at this diagram now, we have an angle 30 degrees. We have a line 36 meters. So the question says calculate the height of the tower. Calculate the height of the tower. So if we look at this diagram now, look at the height of the tower. If you look at the line that is representing the height of the tower is TW. If you look at that TW compared to the angle that we have, what will you say that side is? That TW is what in relative to our angle 30 degrees? Is it up, is it hypotenuse, is it adjacent? Hello? Can you guys hear me?
Yes, sir.
This tower you say is the relationship between this angle and CW. TW is facing the angle that we know. That means TW is opposite. TW is facing the angle that we know. That means TW is opposite. Then WP is joining to the angle that we know. That makes WP our adjacent. So we have opposite and we have adjacent. Now, if we look at our trigonometric ratios, which one has opposite and adjacent?
Thanks.
Sorry?
Tangent.
Tangent. Good. So that means our tangent of, so that means our tan 30 degrees will be equal to opposite, which is TW divided by adjacent, which is 36. Right? So if we look at our calculator, we use our calculator to find tan 30 degrees. So what is tan 30 degrees? Please, can you guys use your calculator and let me know what is tan 30 degrees?
0.5773.
You said
5773.
right? Good.
0.5774.
Is equal to TW divided by 36. If we cross multiply, TW will come alone and 36 will go and meet 0.5773. So that we will have TW will be equal to 0.5773 multiplied by 36. So if we multiply these, our TW will be equal to
20.78 to 2 decimal places. 20.78 to 2 decimal places.
20.7. No, I want it in full.
Okay, you want it in the full form. 20.7846. 20.7846. Yeah.
This is our answer. Now the question says we should do it to 2 decimal places. Now 2 decimal places will give us, you know, if you round off 6, this becomes 5. Then you round off 5. This will become 9. So to 2 decimal places, our will be equal to 20.79 meters. Now you will now come down and say the height of 20.79 meters. Places. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yes,
Okay, does anybody have any question? Anybody have any question? Someone is raising up his hand. So if that is clear to us, if somebody is raising up his hand,
Mommy.
so he said I muted him before. Sorry, I think I unmuted everybody. Okay, Favor, you can ask your question. Hello, Favor, you can ask your question, please.
I'm not hearing you very well.
But can you hear me now? It may be your network. It may be your network. It may be your network. Let me just log out and log in again. All right, I want to assume this is clear to everybody. Now, you know I told you guys that we will do a classwork. We do classwork. So let me give us the classwork to do. Now, I hope you are ready. all see my screen?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, I want you to pick whichever of the two. We have just 5 minutes to solve this. Pick whichever of the two and solve it so that we can compare our answers. So our 5 minutes starts now. Whichever one of the two and solve it. Our 5 minutes starts now.
Jesus. Hey. Sunday join. Stop, leave that place.
Raising up your hand. You are raising up your hand.
So it's
Please, for those of you number one, I want you to take note of the caveats, leaving your answer in short form. I want you to take note of that.
The calculator.
Has anybody finished? Is anybody done? Favor, are you done?
No.
Favor, you are raising up your hand. You can unmute yourself. You are even unmuted. Bandy, you are raising up your hand. You are unmuted.
Yes, sir. I did number one and I got 6 meters.
Tell you to give me your answer. I said, I just want to know who is done. Okay, you are done.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, you did number one and you are done. Okay.
Yes.
You know what you will do? You will snap it and send it to me privately.
Okay.
So, for those of you who did number one, I will give you number two as assignment. And for those of you who did number two, I will give you number one as assignment. But what the class work, I want it now. Send it to me right away. I'm waiting. George Olatunde, you are not muted. Olatunde, you are raising up your hand.
I'm done.
Muted. You can speak.
I'm done.
Okay, you are done. Okay, as I said, I had my instructions. Snap it and send it to me. Which one did you do? George Olatunde, which one did you do?
Number 1.
You did number 1. So you will do number 2 as assignment and send it to me later. But the number 1 you have done now, send it to me now. Before we close, I also want to reiterate this. I have told us during our meetings that if there's anything you don't understand, at any point in time, you can chat me up. You can chat me up. You have my number. You can send me a chat. Whatever issue is, something we can't clarify by text, I may probably have to call you. So at any point in time, if you're having any challenge, you're having any issue, just let me know. And you can be guided that challenge will be resolved. All right. On this powerful note, I want to thank everybody for logging in and joining the meeting. I want to appreciate you guys, all of you that have been. Thank you very much. So do enjoy the rest of your day. And I'll see you guys on Saturday. I'll see you guys on Saturday. Thank you very much.
Where are you going?
Hello, Favor.
Consider